price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, y'all lock in by hitting that like button. Check if you're subscribed. Subscribe. If you have not subscribed, hit that thumbs up button. All of that stuff. We're going to have a very, very good broadcast this evening, my brothers and sisters, my ladies and gentlemen. Let me hit this thing going forward. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys could do me a solid, super solid, and retweet this, repost this, all of that, that would be very, very helpful. Let me check on everything, make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. Do you guys have am I on you? Hold on, let me see. Okay, I am. Do you guys have cicadas? You know, there's like a rise of the cicadas or something like that. They're like kind of cricket little bugs. They're harmless, very harmless. The reason I say that is because I think there's a cicada in this room. I've been accidentally bringing them in the house. They stick on you, and then when you bring them in the house, they just fall off. And you know, there's like a ton of cicadas outside right by me. So they're harmless, but here or there, those things, it's crazy. I've been bringing some in my house. They be like sticking to the back of my shirt and I don't see it. And then when I come in the house, you know, they fall off somewhere and then they just be silent for like an hour. And then I just hear it cricking or making whatever noise that happens in my car. So that I had to get like a few of them out of my car too. When I open the door, they fly in. It's very interesting. Very interesting. So if you guys hear that, that's a little cracking sound. That's a cicada in here. Just wanted y'all to know. That's what it is. It's okay. They're harmless. They are harmless. Okay, so by now, this is not breaking news. Everybody has heard the news that Donald Trump has been convicted in his hush money trial for paying off essentially a porn star to be quiet. Apparently, she was not quiet enough because he got caught. So we're not really going to get into the details about why he got caught and if this is political or whatever the case is, even though a lot of people who support Donald Trump believe that it is. We're going to get into what does this mean going forward? What is the aftermath of this going forward? First off, let me play this. Let me just do this, get this out of the way because we're going to be playing some clips here tonight. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so we got that out the way. So there has been warning, if you are around any small children, there might be some offensive language. All right. So the Donald Trump trial has led to a lot of people. There's been a lot of tension. A lot of people don't want him to go to jail. And then a lot of people do want him to go to jail, which led to a lot of tension, a lot of protest outside of his trial. So look at this. A lot of chaos.
Hallelujah! Praise Jesus. Yes!
Now, if the audio is a little weird, I had to, of course, you guys know, I got to start editing the audio a little bit. So, you know, to prevent the copyright stuff. So the audio is a little modified, but you guys can pretty much hear everything. So here we go.
We gotcha.
So what you're seeing right here is
you were told to stay away.
A pro-Trump protest.
We escorted you out of here.
And then there's a disruptor who comes in. That's that little lady. I think it's a lady. I don't know. That's that little individual, that small individual. Don't mean to be offensive. I don't know the gender of that person, but that's what that person is. Small individual coming there to pretty much say the down Trump. And this pro-MAGA woman is literally fighting and you hear a cackling sound of someone who sounds like he's trying to imitate the Joker or the Riddler in the background, cheering it on as the buff lady is fighting the little individual. It's a very interesting sight to see. Not that we condone any violence whatsoever, but yeah, look at this.
We escorted you out of here. Where the Lily?
Fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch.
Anti-gay. Get it out of your fucking hand. Get it out of
Fuck
your
that
fucking hand.
bitch.
Get it out.
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You got
Hey, no, we ran you out of town. We deported your ass. We deported your ass last time. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Bitch.
Go to fucking you
Sleazy dick.
like Robin
Sleazy
Nero.
cunt.
Get the fuck out.
You're a sleazy cunt.
No one will touch you. You are safe here. Get the fuck out.
Knock her down. Knock her down. Get out of here, bitch. You're here. Get out of here. You're a disgrace to the out. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. We got you. Ha ha, bitch. Stupid bitch. You started it, bitch.
Over here provoking us.
Yes. Yeah. You're antagonistic. You were escorted. We're deported. Yeah. You don't like. You hate faggots. You don't like.
All right, okay. So that's all I'm gonna play of that, but it was very disorderly. You know, it's unlike how us in, Black American culture is unlike how we protest and unlike how we conduct ourselves anytime there's something that needs to be said. I don't know, it's something with their culture that they always wind up fighting each other, and all of this white on white crime, I think, is degenerate. It's very degenerate, and someone needs to be brave enough to say it. If we're going to make America a better place, someone needs to say that this white on white crime that stems from their culture. I don't know if it's the meth or the lack of fathers or the fathers sleeping with the sisters. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but whatever's in their culture that's messing up their brains or something, their IQ levels are so low, they're always fighting each other. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but somebody needs to look into that. Maybe it's the music, I don't know. I'm not sure. That Eminem's not good for the brain, but we don't know. We're not sure. We're not sure, but that was before the conviction. So he's been convicted on all 34 counts of his hush money trial. So we're going to actually read a little bit into, does this end his campaign? Short answer, not really. It doesn't. But let's look into this, because there is actual legal precedent as to, and then we get all the way up to the top, as to why it doesn't. There actually has been someone who ran and got many votes despite the fact that they ran while in prison. So this comes from Politico. It says, the indictment and other ongoing criminal investigations of Donald Trump raise a real... Now, we're not going to read the whole thing because it's long and we got a lot more to cover. This is very long. We're just going to really get to the part where they just essentially established the legal precedent and the fact that Donald Trump could go that route if he chose to. It says, the indictment and ongoing criminal investigation of Donald Trump rise the real question, if still remote, prospects that the leading contender of the 2024 presidential nomination could face prison time. Turn this down. Hold on. Sorry. Could face prison time. There we go. There are no legal obstacles for running for president as a convicted felon or even from behind bars. And if Trump finds himself in that predicament, he'll be following in the footsteps of another ramble-rousing populist and frequent presidential candidate who the avowed socialist Eugene V. Debs, who received nearly 1 million votes while in prison a century ago. So if he does run, which he says he continues to do so, he says he's not dropping out, he continues to do so. If he does do so, he will be following behind Deb's footsteps. Now, they're going to go into what Deb did to get behind bars. Debs is far from the only person who has sought the highest office in the land while in prison. But he is the most successful person. In 1920, he became the Socialist Party nominee while serving a 10-year federal sentence for urging people to resist the World War I draft, which was at the time against the law. It was a federal crime to do that. Okay. And it says he served 3%. He received 3% of the popular vote, a respectable tally of an incarcerated socialist, but nowhere near enough to force the nation to seriously grapple with the improbable constitutional question: what happens if an imprisoned candidate actually wins? So, okay, that's him. Trump's escalating legal troubles are resurrecting that question. He has been indicted in New York for falsifying business records, a state crime that carries a maximum 4 year in prison when charged as a felony. Many experts contend that even if Trump is convicted, now he has been, even if he is convicted, he is unlikely to see prison time because judges rarely sentence first-time offenders to prison for that type of felony. Now, he is first time, and it is a non-violent offense. So rarely that would happen, but they are more than likely trying to go for the max. It's unprecedented. Let's be honest, it's very unprecedented. But in this case, if they are like, well, if we're gonna shoot, we might as well shoot for the stars. So you don't know what they're gonna try to do. Let's just keep that in mind. It says, but 3 other ongoing criminal investigations of Trump, one in Georgia for election interference, and 2 from special counsel Jack Smith in Washington, could trigger more serious felony charges and carry a higher risk of prison. Now, the hush money thing, what a lot of people are saying, because a lot of people want Trump on many different offenses, a lot of people are saying the hush money can really just set the precedent. It really just opens the door for them to easily get other convictions. So a lot of people can like, okay, well, we got him on this. Finally, we've been trying to get him for pretty much 4 years and we haven't been able to get him on anything else. Finally, we got him on this. So now that we got him on this, now it makes it a little bit easier to get him on the other things, which is what a lot of people are thinking that's going to be the case. A lot of people are assuming that's going to be the case. Going down a little bit further, it says, a Trump electoral victory from behind bars would open a constitutional can of worms. But the general view among legal scholars is that the need for a duly elected president to fulfill his duties of office would override a criminal conviction and require the sentence to at least be put on hold. And if Trump were convicted of a federal crime, he could even try to pardon himself immediately upon taking office, which I'm sure if he does win office, if he does have any federal crimes at all or any pending federal crimes, he would immediately pardon himself. I think anybody would do that if they were in that position. Says a maneuver that Debs himself promised to undertake if he won. He didn't win though. Quote, then we're going to get into charted waters. Seton Hall law professor Eugene Mazzo said, I don't think we have an answer to this. So it goes on a little bit further, but essentially that's all I really wanted to say with this, because then it goes into the whole thing with Debs, and we're not here to discuss Debs. We're not here to discuss Debs. A lot of people are cheering on Trump. A lot of people are like, this was Trump's reaction. Let me show you Trump's reaction right after the conviction. Trump's reaction, he went to Twitter right after the conviction and said, all caps, everything all caps, my civil rights have been totally violated with this highly political, unconstitutional, and election interfering witch hunt. Our failing nation is being laughed at over the world. So Trump was very, very upset about that. He said it's unconstitutional. He says his civil rights have been violated, which means he does not have a right to a fair trial. So Apparently that's important to Donald Trump all of a sudden. This also caused reactions from some other people too. Look, this is what DJ Academics had to say about it. Donald Trump getting found guilty on 34 felony counts for paying off his side hoe makes me want to vote for that nigga even more. Not gonna lie. Okay, so that's DJ Academics, who I think he needs to pay very much more attention to the cases that people are alleging are against him and his legal troubles and the situations going on with him than he has with anybody else. Talking about he want to pay off somebody because they paid off his side. He wants to vote for somebody because they paid off his side hoe. That's what he's saying. Okay. So Donald Trump's reaction to this is after he did this, he did some interviews later, but the first thing he did was he went to a UFC game. So this is Donald Trump going to, hold on. That's Donald Trump going to a UFC game.
45. Being ushered in by UFC CEO Dana White, Donald Trump is in the building and the former president getting a standing ovation from the assembled masses.
You guys, let's just remember Dana White beat his wife up. Let's just remember that on camera. And everybody just forgets about that part. Everybody just kind of just let that slide. He never faced any criminal charges. He didn't face any fines. He wasn't really suspended. There was really no consequences at all. But, that's Donald Trump's friend. Just so you know, birds of a feather flock together, just so you know.
Here at UFC 302. Well, you had a sneaking suspicion that former President Trump would be in the building for UFC 302. He is a rabid mixed martial arts fan. I kind of feel like he's betting on these fights when he's not actually here.
Okay, so that's Donald Trump. We don't need to play him waving at the audience like that. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. But he had a lot of support. Now this is Khabib, one of the fighters. Khabib shaking up time. Afterwards, you can't really hear what they're saying. I tried to enhance the sound, but he's shaking up with Khabib, who's I guess a UFC champion. I'm not sure exactly what type of champion he is, or at least he's a very popular fighter right there. And he's shaking up with Khabib, and Khabib asks him, you guys can't hear it, I had to read the caption. He asks him, he's like, I know you're going to end the war in Palestine. And then he's like, yeah, if when I get a chance, I'm going to end the war. So this is Donald Trump shaking up. Now, Khabib is a Muslim, so you all know. I mean, he goes to the Muslim countries, and he's a Muslim fighter, and he's shaking hands with Donald Trump about the Palestine.
Thank you, man. I don't know. I got a little girl I love, and I gotta see. I think this could be interesting. Well, if
it's Khabib. I think Khabib. It's Khabib. Okay, yeah, my bad. I got that mixed up. Khabib, I think it is Khabib, whatever. But oh yeah. Now I think that's interesting. Let me pause it real quick. Let me just get that off the screen. I think that is interesting because a lot of people, when Trump was the president, a lot of people were talking about how severe his Muslim ban is. His Muslim ban is so severe, and he's banning Muslims from entering America, and that's just so terrible. How could he do that to Muslims? And this is Khabib, and I keep saying Khabib. It's Khabib or something. This is him. This is Khabib right here, and he's chilling with Donald Trump, thanking him, trying to get the thing in Palestine. So it seems like all of the Palestinians and the Khabib. Oh, yeah, okay, it's Khabib. Okay, Khabib. Okay, it seems like Khabib and a lot of the other Muslims from the Arab Muslim and Palestinian Muslim community, because Muslim is not like a ethnicity, it's a religion. Khabib is, it seemed like I don't know, what happened to the anger from the Muslim ban? The Muslim ban that Donald Trump put on everybody. It seems like all of these bans and restrictions and all of this stuff that he puts on other groups of people, it seems like they get to just throw. I mean, they don't really seem that mad about it. Now, the media will tell us we should be mad on their behalf. They'll tell us as Black America we should be mad at Donald Trump on behalf of not really the Muslim community, just the Arab community, essentially. Okay. We should be mad on behalf of the Arab and Middle Eastern community because of the Muslim ban. And then this is them against Joe Biden, shaking up with Donald Trump over the Muslim ban. So how can we get more mad about the Muslim ban than the Muslim community is getting mad about the Muslim ban? That's my thing. Because what the left media, the left side of the white media tries to do is they try to be all like, Donald Trump's doing all of this to all of these people of color, and you're a person of color too, so you should not just get mad for yourself. You got to get mad when Donald Trump does something to every person of color, every single person of color. When Donald Trump does something, we're all in this same boat together. They tell us that anytime. Oh, hold on, the Muslims, come on, don't you have any morality? Don't you have any morality? Oh, whoa, hold on now, because they don't even seem that mad about it. All of these other groups, you'll see this when it comes to the Asian community. You'll see this when it comes to the Hispanic community. You'll see this when it comes to the Arab community, all these other communities. You'll see this, the fact that, yeah, they get offended here or there. Even white women, yeah, they grab them by the, private parts. They get offended here or there, but they kind of shrug it off. They tell you this, and this is supposed to reflect on your morality, and you're supposed to be against him morally for things he's done to other people that they've forgiven him for. And you're the only people getting played. You're the only people getting played. I mean, this just don't look like he's that mad about the Muslim ban. I don't think he brought it up when he was shaking his hand and saying thank you. I don't think he ever brought that point up.
Thank you, man. I don't know. I got a little girl I love, and I gotta see. I think this could be it. Well, if it.
Okay, all right. Okay, then. But at the end of the day, what's going to matter, because Donald Trump has gotten millions, at least a lot. Some persons were saying 50, at the very least over $30 million in donations after his conviction, which hasn't even been a week ago. So he's gotten millions of dollars in donations. But here's the thing. This election, donations is not what's going to make or break somebody's this election. It can make or break elections. It absolutely can. Having your campaign being underfunded absolutely can destroy your election. It can. And oftentimes it does. But the thing is that in this election particularly, no party is like underfunded. It's not like Donald Trump is running out of funds for his campaign. That's not his issue. His issue is not him being his lack of funds. Giving him more funds is not going to give him the election. The thing that's going to give him the election is the votes. The thing that's going to determine who gets the presidency is the black vote. Why? The black vote is because the black vote controls the swing states. And at the end of the day, all the donations in the world, they can say that all the donations in the world, absolutely none of that matters, none of it at all, if they don't get him or Biden, don't get the swing vote. Absolutely, he absolutely needs to get the swing vote. So we're going to look at this article real quick, and we're going to see what's going on with the swing votes right now. So this comes from MSNBC, which just take with a grain of salt that they have a bias against Trump. So just take that with a grain of salt. It says, now this was literally today. This was literally this morning. It says before a jury found Donald Trump guilty of 34 felonies, there was a fair amount of polling on the potential impact on the 2024 presidential election. There was, however, an important caveat hanging overhead. It says, as we discussed last week, pollsters routinely ask their public for their opinion about things that have happened. The task becomes a little trickier when pollsters ask about expected opinion related to things that haven't happened yet. Continues to say, now that the trial has concluded and the public knows that the former president has been found guilty, the survey data takes on a greater significance. This is not to say that all of the caveats are gone. Early data can sometimes be less reliable as the public takes time to digest major developments. But those eager to know if Trump's guilty verdict means an electoral context can and should take note of the latest data. Now, then they're going to start getting into the polls down here. It says, with this in mind, let's take a look at the latest surveys from each. It says latest surveys, each of which were released over the last couple of days. So all of this stuff was after Donald Trump got convicted. So this is the ABC Ipsos poll. It says in the survey, a 50% popularity said that the jury in Trump's case made the right call. A 51% majority concluded that the former president intentionally did something illegal in this case. And a 94% popularity believes that the presumptive Republican nominee should end his candidacy as a result of his guilty verdict. Okay, so these polls, I just want you guys to keep in mind that these polls are very interesting, but the thing is about it is all of these polls are not asking people if they would still vote for Trump if they had the chance. A lot of these polls are asking, do you think Donald Trump was guilty? Because there's a lot of people who say, yeah, I think Donald Trump was guilty. And then there's less people who say, yeah, he should drop out. But there's people who say, yeah, I think Donald Trump was guilty. And I think Donald Trump should still be there. I still think Donald Trump should still be in office. So we got to keep in mind all of those things. All right. So it says the same data found President Biden with a 2/3 lead over Trump after having found the two major party candidates tied before the trial. So essentially what this poll is saying is the trial took away from Trump. The trial is kind of hurting Trump a little bit. Another poll says in this survey, 10% of registered Republican voters said they were less likely to vote for Trump now that he's been found guilty of felonies. Similarly, 25% of registered independent voters said the same thing. The same data also found Biden leading by 2 points. So there's that's a significant drop. 10% of registered Republican voters said they're less likely, not that they won't, but they're less likely to vote for him. So that's a pretty decent drop. And then 25% of registered independents said the same thing. So that's you put that together, that's 35 people said that they're less likely to vote for him, or 35% of the people who were likely to vote for him are less likely to vote for him, which allows Biden to lead in the polls, which is okay. That's another major L. So Trump, despite him walking in the UFC and seeming like he's cool, calm, and collected, which Trump is trying to portray himself to be, Trump is taking some blows in the polls, if I can say that. He is taking a little hit in the polls. It says morning consult poll. It says in this survey, a 54 majority approved. So this majority, a 54 majority approved of the verdict in Trump's case. And 15% of Republican voters said the former president should end his candidacy as a result of being found guilty. Also notable, 7 to 10 voters in the poll said Trump's other pending criminal trials should be resolved before voters cast ballots in the fall. So a lot of people, 7 to 10, that's a lot. A lot of people, that's 70%, are saying, I don't know, like, one down, let's see where the other ones go. We don't want to, vote for him and then he goes to jail. We don't want to back him and then he goes to jail, who goes to prison. So let's see where all of this goes first. Let's not so Trump is not looking that good for Trump right now. Let's just be honest. It could look a little bit better for him. It continues to say, in this survey, the outlet contacted, now this is the CBS News YouGov poll. In this survey, the outlet contacted the American poll before the verdict. While few changed their minds, the results showed that a 54% majority agreed that Trump's New York trial was fair. A 57% majority agreed that the jury's verdict, and a 51% majority said Trump is unfit for the presidency. Now, like I said before, keep in mind this is coming from MSNBC, so just keep that in mind. But by multiple polls, this is the fourth one so far. Multiple polls is saying that Trump is not looking that good right now. It says when House Speaker Mike Johnson traveled to the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse a few weeks ago to show his support for his party's presumptive nominee, the Louisiana Republican made a bold assumption about public attitudes. The GOP congressional leaders began by dismissing the trial as a, quote, sham before adding, quote, I think everybody in the country can see that for what it is. Okay, so it says, it was a dubious assertion at the time. It's now worse. Okay. All right. There we go. So the thing is that Trump is not looking good in the polls. It's not looking good for him. And if you guys have been following us for the longest time, Trump has been leading in the polls for roughly about a year now. He's been pretty much beating Biden in the polls. Is now a lot of people are feeling like Trump's ability to even make it to the election is kind of up in the air now. And arguably it might be. A lot of people feel like it might be. Now he can still run and people can still vote for him, even if he does do prison time, or if he does do house arrest, or if he does pay a fine, which a lot of people feel like is more likely that he will pay a fine than go to prison. But even if he does go to prison, it still is a legal precedent set that he still can run for president if he is behind bars, which is very interesting. But he can. But the thing is that it's all up to us as the swing vote. Donald Trump can rile his base. Donald Trump can energize the UFC. He can get a lot of people who have already backed him to even further back him, to further his campaign. But at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, it is the black vote that controls the swing states. It's the swing states that's going to make Trump win or lose. Now, Trump has been winning in the polls and he's been leading in the swing states. But the thing is that Trump does not, nor does Biden, Trump does not have a guarantee to get these swing states. Early polling is not a guarantee, and it has not been that way in any election. Early polling is not a guarantee. There is no guarantee until after election day when you count up the ballots. Early polling is not a guarantee of that. The swing states are controlled by the black population in those swing states, because those swing states are pretty much controlled by its major cities, and most of the major city population are the black people in those populations. Like, for instance, Detroit, which is the major city of Michigan, that's the city that makes that a swing state. Atlanta, which is the major city of Georgia, which is what determines that state being a swing state. A lot of people have to understand that all of America is really red. what you see are blue states. They're really not really blue states. Is really cities like Detroit, cities like Atlanta, cities like Philadelphia, cities. These are cities that turn the state blue because it's a very large amount of people living in that city or near that city, and a lot of them tend to vote blue. Besides that, everywhere else is red. Even in Illinois, Illinois is solidly blue, is a solid blue state. That is because most people living in Illinois live in Chicago or right outside of Chicago, somewhere near Chicago. If you leave Chicago and drive like 2 hours heading down south, you're going to see rural areas. You're going to think you're in the South because it's rural. You're going to see windmills and cows and farms and tractors and trailers and all of that stuff. If you go down south from Chicago, even just heading to Springfield, which is really kind of like in the middle of the state, if you go down even further than that, it's going to be red. And this goes for Atlanta. This goes anywhere it's blue. Right outside, really, of the major cities, it's red. It's the major cities that determine, because their voter base in the major cities are very potent, and it's a very large amount of them, so much so that the state is officially blue based off of those major cities. And the black people control those major cities. When black people vote, more than likely, like pretty much all the time, black people tend to vote Democrat. So when black people, it's a large black turnout, it's good for the Democratic Party. When it's a small turnout, it's not good. So Donald Trump does not have that guarantee. So Donald Trump's conviction, yeah, it might energize his base. His base was energized in 2020. The thing is that he lost major swing states that he needed to win, that he won when he went against Hillary, because black people stayed home with Hillary. He needs to win those swing states back. His base is not going to win those swing states back. Now, Donald Trump is in a tight situation because if he tries to appeal to the black vote, and he can't just give a phony little, I'm a criminal and you guys are kind of criminals, like he did right here, like he did in this situation.
You know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing.
Now, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Donald Trump has a history. And let me show you this. This is what Donald Trump was doing when he was president.
And when you see these towns and when you see these thugs being thrown into the back of a paddy wagon, you just see them thrown in, rough. I said, please don't be too nice. Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting their head, you know, the way you put their hand over, like, don't hit their head, and they've just killed somebody, don't hit their head. I said, you can take the hand away, okay?
Okay. So that was him. That was him when he was president. Okay. He didn't do nothing for black folk at all. I'm not trying to hear about the First Step Act. I'm not trying to hear about that. I'm not trying to hear about what he did for the economy and that trickled down to black people because we live in the same economy, the American economy. I'm not trying to hear about that. Donald Trump did not do anything because he knows his base. He knows the Proud Boys and all of these nationalist and extremist gangs who vote for him. He knows that. He knows they're not going to back him at all if he does anything tangible because they're the antithesis of black empowerment. So if he does anything remotely tangible, they're going to lose. They're going to be like, hey, Trump, we have faith in you. A lot of people who vote for Trump, like his base, his core base, they don't do it because they like Trump as an individual. They like Trump really as the principle of Trump. Trump is a principle of someone like a champion, the champion that they've been wanting for the longest time. That's how they view him. That's how they think of him. Trump is their champion. It's not about them liking his business deals or anything like that. Trump is that way because he represents what they believe, and he represents the leader that they want this country to have. If he starts doing stuff for the black population, then they're gonna start seeing him differently. Like, oh wow, okay, now you're trying to get the blacks to vote for you. Okay, never mind then, never mind. Now, it doesn't matter. He can hang out with rappers. He can hang out with Lil Wayne. He can hang out with Kodak Black and Kanye West. He can hang out with them. They don't have an issue with a black person being in the room. They have an issue with black people getting any substantive legislation. They have an issue in black people getting any tangibles. That's their issue. That's their problem. So if Donald Trump does absolutely anything at all to change the pendulum, if Donald Trump does anything at all that slightly, not necessarily saying he will, not necessarily saying it's 100% reparations, if he does anything that shakes the status quo, if he rocks the boat a little bit, in their minds, they're going to lose faith in him. Now, that's the case. But the thing is that it doesn't matter what they believe. We're the ones who get to determine if Donald Trump gets in there. Donald Trump messed up the first time. Donald Trump messed up the first time is because when Donald Trump thought that his base could carry him all the way. His base can't do that because his base does not control the swing states. Donald Trump did not see the importance of the black vote because the black vote pretty much did not exist in 2016. Then it really existed in 2020. Okay. So he needs to understand and learn from his mistake, because if he winds up repeating the same mistake, it's over for him. It's done. Then he can't say, okay, they're doing this to throw me off the election. It's a wrap for Trump. So Trump needs to do something, and he's trying not to do it. He's trying to talk around it. He's trying not to do anything for the black population. And the thing is that he needs not the black people to vote for him. He needs black people not to vote for Biden. The thing is that if he's not doing anything, he runs the risk. It's not a guarantee that black people won't vote for Biden. It's not a guarantee at all. He needs to win those swing states, which he won't do unless he convinces the black population that he is the better option. He's the better option. So you're voting for Biden. I don't know how you got that. That's what he would need to do. That's exactly what he needs to do. Will he do it? It's not seeming likely. We're less than 6 months away from the election, and he's not appealed to that black vote that he needs. Yeah, he surrounds himself with cherry-picked black population, cherry-picked black people, but he's not getting that black support. Now, mind you, a lot of people have been looking at the black reaction, Black America's reaction. A lot of people have been looking at that after this election, and they're seeing, yeah, Black America is really not as interested. We're really not really like, oh my God, Donald Trump. We're really not like that. Black America's really like, I mean, it's tough, I guess. Oh, well. They're not seeing the outrage and the spark and the motivation to go vote for Donald Trump and support Donald Trump and cheer on Donald Trump. They're not seeing that. So a lot of them are getting worried. So a lot of them are now, they're saying things like, hold on now, the black population, come on. Now, check this out. They're telling us, they're essentially telling us to vote for Donald Trump here. Look at this lady.
If you're not voting for Donald Trump, then you ain't black or an American. President Trump just won the 2024 election, and the Democrats just gave us 34 more reasons to vote for him. The entire judicial system is weaponized against the one man who wants to secure our freedoms. You're either a patriot or a traitor.
Okay. So she says, now this was to mock Joe Biden saying that, because Joe Biden said that when he was interviewing Charlemagne, or Charlemagne was interviewing him. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. He said that. Okay. So now she's trying to flip it. But it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful when he said it. It was disrespectful when Joe Biden said it. So I don't know why she feels like it would be less disrespectful or less offensive. Now, what's interesting is she's not telling anybody to vote for her. She's directly telling black people to vote for Biden. And she has this thick Latino accent. And she's not saying nothing to the Latinas. Notice, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's reaction is about, okay, well, what are black people going to do? That's everybody's question is, okay, well, what are black people going to do? Because why is she not talking to her own community? She didn't say, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not Latino. She's not saying that. She says black. And then she's playing a ASAP Rocky song in the background. Why ain't she playing the quinceañera music and the salsa music? She could be playing any of that stuff. You're like, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not Latino, you're not Mexican. She could have said any of that stuff, but it's directly black. It's like black, black, black. Here's another thing that I thought was pretty interesting, right? Another thing that I thought was pretty interesting, right? This from Fox News.
Beating him, certain segments of the population that he might not have had in 2016 and 2020, because for the first time they realized that the system's coming down, that he's the victim. He's the victim that oftentimes some of their communities were. And you see them swing. You look at the African-American vote, right? That swing over to Donald Trump in spades.
Okay. So he got that from Donald Trump saying this.
In the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. They do shirts and they sell them for.
So the whole the injustice that Donald Trump has faced, the black community can really resonate because some members of the black community feel the same way. Now, he says something very interesting at the end that a lot of people might have missed, but I'm going to play it back again.
Beating him, certain segments of the population that he might not have had in 2016 and 2020, because for the first time they realized that the system's coming down, that he's the victim. He's the victim that oftentimes some of their communities were. And you see them swing. You look at the African-American vote, right? That swing over to Donald Trump in spades.
Okay. He says spades. He says spades. He says the African-American vote, which is not really true. The black FBA vote is not swinging to Donald Trump in no huge, overwhelming number. It's not. But notice he says the word spades. And let me tell you something about when suspected white supremacists use the word spades. When they use the word spades in the context of referring that to black people, it's actually a racial epithet. Let me show you this. Because to people who might not know, it might just seem weird. It might seem, wow, when would you use the context you're going to them in spades? That would just seem kind of weird. But let me tell you something. Let me show you something. So spades, for a lot of people who might not know, spades is used when it's used by white supremacists as a racial epithet. Okay. And I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm going to tell you the history of it. It says, quote, calling a spade, which is something people say, means being forthright and telling it like it is. This phrase can be a red flag anyway, because it signals a speaker's prioritizing giving their own unvarnished opinion over considering other people's needs and feelings. Okay, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It says the phrase calling a spade has a complicated history. In its earliest forms, the phrase was calling a fig or a through. It dates back to ancient Greece. A racial undertones were later additional. Okay, and then it says the spade in the phrase was originally understood to be a gardening tool. Around the late 1920s, this association shifted to imply the suit of playing cards instead. At the same time, the word spade began being used as a code word for black people. These two adjustments in language usage took, quote, calling a spade from the innocuous Greek idiom to an uncomfortable hold on, let me zoom this in. I can barely see that right there. Uncomfortable racist phrase. Or is that what it's? Hold on, let me zoom out. I cannot even see this thing. So I got all these screens minimized so I cannot see it. Uncomfortably racist phrase. Sorry, I gotta make these bigger. And then it's saying what we should say instead. I see that. Anyway, so you guys know, yeah. Calling a spade when black people's, and a lot of people don't know that history because it happened in like the 1920s. A lot of people don't know that history, but they know that history, which is why it was so interesting for him to be all like they're going in spades. That's a little racist undertone that they're using, just like a little racist jab that they're using that he feels because it's not a very popular epithet, like calling a black person the N-word or calling them a monkey or a thug or something like that. It's not a very popular racist epithet. He thought it would go over a lot of people's heads, but it didn't. Okay. The thing is that the black FBA community, we're not sitting up there. What is Donald Trump being convicted going to do for us? What does that mean to, even if we can relate, even if Donald Trump has been wrongfully convicted, even if he's been absolutely wrongfully convicted, he never should have been convicted. There's no hush money. There was no woman. There was no nobody. And they're just doing that to prevent him from running for, I mean, so what does that mean for us? What does that mean for us? Okay. Because we've been wrongfully convicted and he's been wrongfully convicted, that somehow we can relate. That's that whole, we got to relate to everybody's pain because we had it first. The system of white supremacy for many years, up until recently, has successfully been able to plague the consciousness of the FBA community by pretty much saying, look at what you guys have been through. And if you see other people who are going through something bad, maybe not as bad, but if they're going through other things that are bad, based off of what you've been through, you should have this immense amount of empathy and you should sympathize with all of their plights. And because of your empathy and because of the fact that you can sympathize and empathize because you've gone through so much stuff, you should go and support whoever is going through any hardship because you know how bad it feels to go through that hardship. And they've been able to manipulate the good conscience that FBA has always had, the FBA community has always had. They've been able to manipulate the good conscience of that, and they've been able to sit up there and a lot of FBA being all like, well, I guess we've been through that. Well, now it's black and brown because we understand how bad it is, and we see them being mistreated, so we want good for them. With the black and Asian thing, not even with the Stop Asian Hate situation that was going on a few years ago. I'm talking about all the way back when they were in the internment camps. A lot of people don't know that history. When they were in the internment camps, a lot of those camps, they were being very poorly fed. A lot of them were being underfed. A lot of black people would go to the camps and they would give Asians food. They would be through the gates. They would be handing them loaves of bread and stuff like that. They have always look at where their economy is. A lot of the Asian community, look at where their number one constituents are. Who they put their stores, they put their restaurants, their nail salons, they put all that stuff, their beauty hair supply stuff. They put that stuff in the black community because the black community has always supported them. And it's always been that way. It's always been that way. And it's because they have successfully manipulated our conscience into say, well, we kind of do beat them up a little bit. Not as bad as y'all, but we beat them up a little bit. But if we punch y'all, but we slap them, you understand the pain. You understand the pain more, not as much as they do. But when we slap them, you can understand that they're going through something. because you've been through that. So you should go help them because you have this moral empathy. And too long, that's been working on a lot of black people. And now they're trying, the same people who've been trying to tell us we shouldn't be going, get up, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, stop complaining, stop whining. Nobody's doing anything wrong to you that you don't deserve. The main party and the main individuals pushing that are the main people telling you, well, because Donald Trump is going through something and it's unfair for him, and y'all know what it's like to be treated unfairly, y'all should take the same amount of empathy and sympathy, and y'all should take that same righteousness that you guys have, that we've manipulated you guys to have. Y'all should take that same amount of righteousness, and y'all should turn that and manifest that and convert that into support for Donald Trump. That's what they're telling us to do now. That's exactly what they're telling us to do, which is not working. That's not working. Donald Trump is, I mean, it can, he can, but the thing is, at this rate, it's not likely. At this rate, is not likely. Yeah, his core base is fired up more than ever. But the thing is that his core base is not enough to get him the win. What Donald Trump needs is way more than his core base. Donald Trump needs more moderates, and he needs the black vote to at least stay home, not necessarily vote for him, but at least not vote for Biden. Because it don't matter if he has all of them. If black people vote for Biden, that's it. Because that determines the swing states. So the thing is that if the black community is like, well, we don't really care. I don't know. You haven't really promised us anything. And the moderates who are on the fence, who the independents who are on the fence, if they're not going to vote for him, he can fire his core base up and they can donate another $100 million. He's not going to win. The presidency does not go to the person who has the biggest campaign donations. That's not who the presidency goes for. So the tides are shifting because a lot of the moderates who don't necessarily feel Trump that much all the way anyway, now they're all like, man, I don't really know about this guy, because they're looking at it like, man, this might be a bad investment. A lot of people who might have donated might be looking at it like that too. You have to think about it from a business standpoint, because from a business standpoint, if I'm a corporation and I donate to your campaign, I'm expecting when you become the president, you sign some legislation that might be very, lucrative to my business. But if I'm donating to your campaign and you getting indicted and you getting convicted and you going to prison and it's a less chance that you gonna win, my donations are going to an unsuccessful campaign, which means it's less likely that my donations will convert into positive legislation for me and my business, which probably means I need to start donating elsewhere. So a lot of businesses might look at it this way. So Donald Trump's only hope is really to make some type of solid promise of tangibles, substantive tangibles. I'm not talking about jobs. I'm not talking about state jobs. I'm not talking about government jobs. I'm not talking about loans. I'm not talking about canceling student loan debt. I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm talking about cutting the check. If Donald Trump doesn't do that, Donald Trump has a high chance of not winning, because he made that mistake before. Even though Biden's made a lot of mistakes, and it's a lot of people who are on the fence and don't want to support Biden. It's a lot of people who don't. Donald Trump is running the risk of making the same exact mistake he made before. The same mistake he made last time was he thought his core super extremist base could take him the way there. They can't do that. Because they can't determine the swing vote. And Donald Trump didn't appeal to anybody outside of his super hard, heavy duty core base, which won't do nothing but just cheer for him and just boo when he loses. That's it. So he can go to all the UFC games he wants to. That's not going to help him. It's not going to help him. You did, though. Lord have mercy. You did have some people out there, and hold on, let me see. You had some people. Let me pull this video up. Lord have mercy, y'all. Let me see. Hold on. Let me come on. Y'all have some people out there and they was Lord. Y'all just brace yourselves for this. Because you had some of them, they was trying to get them butter biscuits real bad. If y'all thought that DJ Academic was trying to get the butter biscuits, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Y'all look at this.
Black president, that's Trump.
Now, we talked about this guy in the last thing. Apparently, after Donald Trump was convicted, apparently this man made a rap video or released a rap video after Donald Trump's conviction. So here we go.
Black president, that's Trump. No, we got President Trump, not President Trump, sucker. He will never back down.
My whole crew, keeping it MAGA when we roll through. Hey, when we roll through, keeping it MAGA. My whole crew, keeping it MAGA when we roll through, keeping it MAGA.
You know blacks voting Trump, I heard Biden's gonna fire us. But that's okay, cause Donald Trump's about to hire us. I pay the IRS, they send my bread to Ukraine. They killing babies, getting abortions, that's the new wave. 100 bands up on my chain, baby, I'm a rich slave. You voting Democrat, just know that come with 3K. The glove don't fit, they must have quit. OJ in this bitch. This a message to Alvin Bragg, Uncle Trump is innocent. I was just in the Bronx, I seen it with my own eyes. It's a red wave, baby, I'm a patriot for life. Robert De Niro, ooh boy, we laughing at you. Let me guess, Donald Trump raped you too? Trump just ain't running against Biden at all. I blame the fake news, baby, they the virus. ABC, NBC, CNN too. I blame Obama and Bush, the Clinton family too.
Black president, Donald Trump. No niggas make me feel pissed. See what I'm saying? I'm Michael the Black Man. Blacks for Trump, nigga. You hear what I'm trying to tell you to your face? If you don't understand me, get out of my face. Democrats gonna say, ooh, bop, choo-bop, shoo-bop. When the lay down in the bed, come grab my teeth from my throat to my head. The unfucked the love in the right, you know she got Megan. And give up some loving, she don't stop begging. I know you're jealous about that Democrat. Black president, Donald Trump. Been spending most their lives living in a future paradise. Been wasting most their days, gonna find days long gone behind. Who are them who come to be? How many of them are you and me? Separation, come on. Separation. Everybody must stick together. That's right. Integration. The man. Boom, boom. They can't fight against the black man and the white man when we are in unity. You see what I'm saying? See? Stick together. This is the roster speaking to your face. Trump, black. You know what I'm saying? Latin, black and white must unite. You know what I mean? Little more, you know, see? Right.
First off, who said that this song was catchy? Somebody in the chat room just said that this song was catchy. Who said that? Who in the chat room said that this song was catchy? Y'all better not ever let him hold the ox ever again. If he's ever in the first off, he can never be in the passenger seat. No more. Anytime, he got to get in the back. Because everybody in the passenger seat want to get the ox. Don't ever let him hold the ox. Ever. He's banned. Okay? If he gets the ox, is off code. He can never hold the ox again. Never let him, if he had a party, never, hey, I got something to listen to. No, that's off code now. He just banned himself. How could he do that? Okay. Then the beat, he got the beat from another song, to be honest. This is another popular song that he got that beat from. It started off, I don't know if it was trap. I don't know if he was trying to sing. It turned into like trap, then it went into Afro beats, then it went into Ray J, it went into it went into a lot. Yeah, don't let him get the ox. Don't let him get that ox. That's off code. That is off code. Don't let him get that ox. But what I found interesting about that what I found kind of interesting about that is the Hispanics had something to say about that. So the Hispanic community said this. So these are Trump Latinos. This is Trump for Latinos. This is, official page, got a lot of followers, everything. So everything Trump Latino. Okay. And then they says, so Trump got 3 baby mamas, a mugshot, and 34 felonies. Bro really is the first black president. Okay, so that's what the Latino population. Now, mind you, these are the people who act like they don't see race, and we're all brothers together, and we're all brothers and sisters together. We all have to vote for Donald Trump. He's going to give us our freedom. But he said 3 baby mamas, a mugshot, and 34 felonies. He's the first black president. Now, that's interesting when you compare that to this woman over here.
You're not voting for Donald.
Talking about if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not black. Let me put it up.
You're not voting for Donald Trump, then you ain't black or an American. President Trump just won the 2024.
So what is going on? What is going on with the Hispanic community got us rent free? Donald Trump got convicted, and the Hispanics are sitting up there talking about us. They're not talking about how they're going to mobilize and we're going to do this for Donald Trump and we're going to say Mexico. They're not doing that. They're not talking about that. Donald Trump gets convicted and they're mad at us. They're like, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not black. You're not black, Holmes. Donald Trump's a criminal. He's the first black president. Okay. I think that's very interesting. It's very telling because a lot of these people who are like blacks for Trump, and I love Trump, and Trump is so cool. Trump is America, and we're all American, and race is blind, and I don't see color. Those black people, they'll team up with a Hispanic who will openly say, we don't like black folk. So for all of the blacks for Trumps and everything, y'all thinking that these Hispanics for Trump are kind of on the same page. No, they're not. They're not. They like Trump for a very different reason than what you think you like Trump for. Why you think they like Trump is not why they really like Trump. So just don't ever get that confused. Another thing, you have Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden is very happy about this. Of course, he's very happy. He tweeted this. Get this off the screen. It says, folks, if anyone is wondering whether your vote matters, remember this. Because black Americans voted, I am president. Kamala Harris is a historic vice president. And Donald Trump is a loser. Okay. First off, I really don't know if Biden has access to his own Twitter. He shouldn't. I get he's the sitting president now. I get it, but he should not have access to his own Twitter because what is this? Because black Americans voted, I'm the president. That's why your vote matters. Because I'm the president. And then it says Kamala Harris is a historic vice president, not black. Because they kept trying to do Kamala Harris is the first black woman president. She's the first black woman president. And they kept doing that, and they saw the first quote unquote black woman president was not resonating with him, with the FBA community. It really wasn't. So they're just saying she's the first. It's a historic vice president. Well, why is it historic? Is it because she's a woman? Now, we're not denying that she's a female. She is a woman. She is Asian. Her father is Jamaican. I mean, but you're the first black. No. That's not what Kamala Harris says about herself. That's not what she says. She makes the implication that she's black when she talks about cornbread and greens and listening to hip hop at Big Mama house and listening to Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and all that. She makes the implication that she's black. But has anybody, I'm seriously asking, I'm seriously asking, has anybody ever heard Kamala Harris say she's black? Like out of her own mouth. or even I'll be even lighter on that. Has she ever made a tweet that I'm really asking, because I really don't know, because maybe I'm wrong, and I don't want to be wrong on live when there's all these people watching me. I don't want to be wrong. Has Kamala Harris ever said she is a black woman? Because all I can recall is her implying that, she's black. She implies that she's from the culture. She implies that, oh yeah, I grew up and, our family would gather for Thanksgiving, which I didn't know Indians celebrated, but our family would gather for Thanksgiving and Kwanzaa, which I still don't know that, Indians celebrated Kwanzaa, but she makes the implication that, oh yeah, and they asked who made the potato salad. Yeah. Like, that's the implication, because, in the black America, the potato salad is very serious about who made it. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can't just make the potato salad. So she implies that she's black, but I don't know. I've never heard her or even no, I don't even know anybody who's heard her say that she is actually black. So what is it a historic win for? Because she's a female, I guess. I guess way good for the woman community over there. Oh, I guess. Don't try to make that a win for the black community, because it's really not. But Biden is happy. So he had an interview, and he was asked about Trump. Now check this out.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
Okay. So they asked him after his speech about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump blames Joe Biden.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that?
First off, whoever works for Donald Trump's PR team doesn't need to be fired. I think needs to be in jail for treason. Because what is this? I don't know if this was something he was told to do. I don't know if he was told to do this or if he did this on his own. Whatever this is, he probably thought he looked cool as hell doing this. Like, you can tell he walks away in silence, then he stops and then looks back. Look at him. He looks at the camera and then just starts smiling.
Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign?
Biden thought he looked smooth as hell doing that. Biden thought he looked fly doing it. He like, oh, this badass. Hold on, I'm gonna just turn back and smile. Biden thought he looked cool as hell.
Do you think the conviction will have an impact?
Biden, why he needs to be fired is because I don't know if it's the PR or if it's Biden. Biden can't damn near do anything without looking evil. This don't look cool. This looks evil. This looks like an evil grin, like he has an evil plan and it just succeeded. This is something not even a villain would do, a very creepy old villain. Like, just look, and he thought he was cool with this.
Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
He stopped and smiled.
Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign?
And then it took a little bit. It took a little bit because he didn't just walk off. It took a little bit for him to, I guess, remember where he was, because then he tripped a little bit. Look, he started walking and he kind of stopped, almost fell. You see how he raised his hand? Now, that would have been hilarious. I swear to God, that would have been hilarious because he almost fell. Look at him. He had to catch himself after that evil grin.
We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
He almost fell up. He had to stop, and then he had to look. Oh.
On the campaign.
It was probably a step. You know how Biden be with them steps. You know how he be with them steps.
We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
Mr. President.
Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. What is going on with Biden? What is going on with Biden, man? What is going on? And here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. Is that just because Trump is doing bad, that doesn't automatically mean that's a good thing for Biden. Biden is celebrating a little bit too early. Biden is celebrating a little bit too early. Just because things are going south for Trump don't mean things are going to go good for him. Because he still needs a large black turnout. He's thinking that, okay, well, if you get Donald Trump off the map, who everybody else, Nikki Haley, Vivek, DeSantis, they all dropped out. Who else could take his place? It's pretty much going to be me. Ain't nobody else. It don't matter how much people dislike me. That his mentality is, it doesn't matter how much people dislike me. I'm not going to do anything to get people to like me. All I got to do is beat the competition by knocking them out the race. I can't beat them in the race, but if I knock them out, I'm the only one in the race. I win by default. That's his thinking. But the thing is that he's celebrating a little bit too early because Donald Trump's not out the race yet. And more than likely, what a lot of experts are saying is that he's going to appeal, which is going to take a little bit of time, especially if that goes to the Supreme Court, which Donald Trump put everybody in the Supreme Court pretty much there. So that would get knocked out. And even if he does go to prison, he could still run. So Donald Trump, as of right now, if more felonies come about, then maybe that might change the circumstance. But as of right now, Donald Trump can still run. And Donald Trump is saying he's still going to run. He can still run from prison. So even though he might have, lost his momentum and he might be down in the polls finally, and it's like a big weight off of Biden's shoulders, does not mean that Biden can celebrate, because he still needs to attract and energize a lot of black voters and not the baby boomers. Because the thing is, when it comes to politics, in order for you to win, you can't just have your core solid base. You have to have a lot of people who are kind of moderate voters. You have your active voters. You have like three different types of voters, really. You have the people who vote every single election, no matter what, every single election, and they tend to vote for one party. They tend to really vote for one person, okay? But they definitely are party loyal. More than like most of the time, they are definitely party loyal. Even if they switch, they become very party loyal. Even if they switch, they're not very independent. Okay. You do have some like a subgroup of very politically active independents, but that's a small niche. Most of the people who are voting like religiously are very party loyal, whether that's Democrat or Republican. That's group one. Group two, that's the larger amount of people. Group one is not that big. The larger amount of people, those are the people who are like, I don't know if I'm going to vote. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the policy, the legislation. If I like the person, if I don't, those are the people who kind of take it and leave it. The reason why they're so important is because they make up a much larger block, and they tend to be a much more youthful block than the people who are religiously loyal to voting, which tend to be a smaller and older block of people that shrinks every single election. So his guaranteed, those are the guaranteed. His guaranteed is getting smaller. His uncertain, which is group two, that's getting larger. All right. And there's like different levels in the group two. There's group two that kind of leans more towards the I tend to want to vote. And then there's the ones who are like, I tend to not want to vote unless it's a severe issue. So there's levels in between group two. Group three are the people who pretty much don't vote or have not ever voted. They don't vote or have not ever voted. That's group three. In order for Biden to win, he's going to not have to focus on group one. he's going to have to focus on group 2. And to be honest, he's going to have to focus on group 3 too. He's going to have to need a lot of people who have not voted at all to turn out for him. And he's going to need the moderates, including the black youth who are unenthused when it comes to his presidential campaign. He's going to need them to be energized and to vote for him again in huge droves. In huge droves. He's going to need that. If he relies on group 1, which is the same exact mistake Donald Trump made during his re-election, the same thing he made during his re-election, where he was all like, don't worry, group 1 will carry me the whole way. Group 1 cannot do that. Despite their reliability, group 1 cannot do that. Okay, because of our movement, the FBA movement, there's a bigger gap between the convergence, between the bridge between group 2 and group 1. It's a much shakier bridge. It used to convert, well, yeah, I don't really vote that much, but then as I get over, I convert into group 1. The convergence from group 2 to group 1 is not nearly as reliable as it's used to be. It's not nearly as reliable. Group 1 is not nearly as big, and is not nearly as influential, is not nearly as powerful, and is shrinking. Only group 2 and really group 3 is going to determine whether either of them win or who wins between the two. So if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't do something that's going to make black people turn out for him, he can try to throw everything in the kitchen sink at Donald Trump, and he's been doing that. But as long as people can still vote for Donald Trump come November 5th, it doesn't matter what he does if he has not energized and motivated and gave some type of substantive promise to group 2. That's the only way he's going to win, because the group 2 is what's going to determine the swing states, not group 1. It's not group 1. Group 1 voted the same time in 2016. Follow me, y'all. They voted the same time in 2016. Group 1 voted, but their power is not enough. They're not potent enough. They're not large enough. They're not energized. Well, they're very motivated, but they're not big enough. They're not influential enough. They're shrinking every single time. So the group 1, you can rely on them, but they're insignificant. They can't carry you all the way there. It's a very solid, reliable starting point. But the thing is that you want the starting point, but you need that group 2 to push you to the finish line. If you don't get that extra boost to the finish line, you're not going to win. If you guys have ever played a driving game, a racing game, and they give you the option to select your cars, and this sometimes you can play this at like arcade games and things like that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'm gonna get to some of the super chats and the cash apps in a little bit. If you guys have ever played a driving game or a racing game, sometimes what they do is they'll give you different car options depending on what you like to drive. And one will be acceleration, and they'll have like a certain bar to let you know how fast this car accelerates. And then another will be top speed. And sometimes those two things are not the same at the same level. Top speed and acceleration are not at the same level. Acceleration is how fast it takes you to get to top speed. Top speed is how fast the car can go, period. Acceleration is more about the time it takes you to get there. It takes you to build up to the top speed, but top speed is how fast the car can go, period. Group 1 is really the acceleration in a car. If we were to use a car as an analogy, group 1 is the acceleration in the car. Just because the car can accelerate or has a faster acceleration rate than other cars does not guarantee it to win. Because you might have a good acceleration, but if your top speed is much slower than this other player's top speed, yeah, he might take a little bit of time to get to you, but once he gets to you, he's going to pass you and you're not going to be able to catch up. So you're going to need both a good acceleration and a good top speed. Group 2, which is the kind of moderates, the youth, that's the youth. That's group 2. That's the top speed. That's what's going to determine if you get to the finish line. You can't just rely on group 1, which would be the acceleration, because you're going to get there and then you're going to have all your competitors pass you up because their top speed is faster. They're going to pass you up and you can't pass them. It might take them a little bit of time, but you can't pass them. And that's what Donald Trump messed up on the first time. He relied on group 1. He relied on his acceleration. He relied on that, but when it came to, and then he made a lot of mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes right at the end of his campaign, which really messed stuff up. He did. If circumstances in 2020 were different, he probably would have won, let's be honest. But still he didn't do anything for the black vote. Okay. Donald Trump and Joe Biden are making the exact same mistake. They're making the exact same mistake, which is why a lot of people, a lot of foundational black Americans are like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay home. I'm just stay home. That's the feeling that a lot of FBA are given. A lot of FBA are like, you can. See if those grandmas and those older aunties with, getting their canes together and their walkers to stand at the polls and vote for you. That's not going to take you there. That's not going to take you there. Okay. It's not. You wouldn't be scared if it was, because you already have them. This is why, brothers and sisters, it's important that we show up in Washington, D.C. in 11 days. 11 days. My good brothers and my sisters, it's important that we show up there. I appreciate every single last one of you guys, because y'all been donating, y'all been volunteering, everything that you guys have been doing. A lot of y'all getting y'all tickets, a lot of y'all getting y'all hotels. It's going to be so exciting to see you guys there in person. I hope every single last one of you all are able to make it. I know for the ones who aren't able to make it, you guys will still be with us in spirit, and that means a lot too. That means a lot too. And a lot of people who might not have been able to make it are still going to be there financially. A lot of people who are still going to financially support to the best of their ability. So that also means a lot too. That also means a tremendous amount. So I appreciate that. Because we're letting them know, like, just because Joe Biden, we're getting there to let them know we demand reparations. We demand anti-black hate crime bill. We demand legislation specifically for our group of people, specifically for our lineage of people that has been the most oppressed, the most subjugated, the most held back, the most targeted. We demand what is ours. Not that you give us anything or even help us out. You took something. And that's why we're in this situation. You burned down our neighborhoods. That's why we're in this situation. You took our land by eminent domain or ran a highway through it. Or you would mysteriously lynch the owner, or the owner would just go missing, and then you guys would do all that stuff. So we're not asking for anything. We're not like, guys, we're just so down bad. Can y'all help us out? We're sitting up there saying, everything y'all took, we want that back. Everything we built, we want that back. So we're not asking for anything that doesn't already belong to us. Nothing that we're demanding, we're not asking for anything. Nothing we're demanding does not already belong to us. Everything already belongs to us. Everything already belonged to us. Another one, the GI Bill, we never got. We didn't do any less sacrificing when we went to the wars, when our people went to the wars. That's why Memorial Day exists, because of foundational Black Americans. But we didn't do any less sacrificing. But when we got much less benefits, we got no benefits. There was Black folk getting lynched in their uniforms, coming back from World War I and World War II, getting lynched in their uniforms. We want all that back. this is why we're saying when we go to Washington, D.C., we're not sitting up there talking about the lesser of two evils. Okay, he might be convicted, but what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? The way I see it, both y'all criminal. The way I see it, to be very honest with you, the way I see it, when it comes to the harm that you have done and the Democrats have done, you guys are more criminal. Because we've essentially we've stayed away as much as possible from the Republicans. So there's only a limited amount of damage they can do if we're sitting up there all living under the supervision in the government of the Democrats. If we're all living in Democratic cities, or we're all living in Democratic states, there's only so much the Republicans can do, because we're trying to avoid them. Not to say they don't need to be avoided. Not to say that they're about anything when it comes to black empowerment. You can look at situations in Florida, and you can see all the mass shootings and stuff. You can see that. And Don DeSantis is sitting up there boosting them. He's echoing their thoughts and their beliefs. So they're both criminal the way we see it. You get shot over here, or you get strangled over here. That's the way we see it. So at the end of the day, we're not sitting up there going to acquiesce to the fact that there's going to be a president, and we need to choose between the lesser of two evils. So Biden needs to stop celebrating early. Trump needs to get it together, because he's already losing the people who were shaky on him, which a lot of people were. A lot of people were shaking on him. So he might get a lot more donations, but he might lose a lot of there's some people who might not want to endorse him like that no more. His future is not as certain as he thought it was going to be. So Donald Trump's not making the smartest moves right now. But that don't mean that things are in the clear for Biden either. That don't mean that Biden's like, okay, coast is clear. Okay, well, but Donald Trump's out the way. I'm the next president again. Ha ha, I won. That doesn't mean that. That don't mean that at all. He ain't beat Trump. And he has not gained any more black support by Trump being convicted. Black people really are not really saying anything like that. If you've gone on Twitter or on social media, black people kind of like not too much saying anything. I'm sitting up there saying that this is going to predict the aftermath of, okay, now the Republicans are going to really lean on the black vote. Now you're going to see a lot of Republicans be all like, come on, black people, y'all got to vote. Y'all got to vote, black people. Come on, vote for us, black people. You're going to see a lot more of that coming from the GOP, the Fox News, the Republic. You're going to see a lot more of that, because they know the importance of it. But it doesn't matter what the Fox News says. It doesn't matter what the GOP says. It doesn't matter. It matters what Donald Trump promises, which he's 6 months away from the election and has not promised a single thing. So Donald Trump is making the same dumbass mistake he made the last time. So it might be the end for him. It very well might be the end for him, which, oh well. If that's the way the cookie crumbles, oh well. That's his mistake. He should have been a better candidate. I feel I'm Torian Reigns. I feel nothing. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. I'm not gonna be shamed if he lose. That's because he wasn't good enough to win. Again, that's because he wasn't good enough. He was making the same stupid ass mistakes. Now, if Biden loses, which is a very high chance he still might lose, I don't feel nothing either. Biden had a chance to fix not only his mistakes as being a president, he had a chance to fix his sins prior to him being president, and he has done absolutely nothing except double down. So if Biden loses, I might put a little smile on my face. I'm not saying that I'm voting for either one, because I'm a couch person myself. I'm a couch person myself. I like the couch. The couch is where I belong. I'm a couch person. But if Biden loses, I might put a little smile on my face a little bit. Maybe. Actually, it will. I'm not even going to say maybe. It will. Let me get to some of the super chats. A good brother, Black Logic. Shout out to Black Logic. He says, peace, power, and reparations. A masterful breakdown. Thank you so very much, brother. I appreciate you. And appreciate the super chat. And then Miss Incognito Shout out for Miss Incognito for the super sticker. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Let me see where did the Cash App come from? The Cash App came from who? The Cash App came from Sam. Shout out to Sam for the Cash App. Shout out to you all for the Cash App. I appreciate you. Get this off the screen now. Yeah, it's the couch. It's the couch. Everybody, yeah, the couch. He says we have to get, and somebody says we have to get Biden is trying to eliminate black. The thing is, here's the thing. We don't got to do nothing. You said we got to get Trump in the office. We don't have to do nothing. It's Trump's job to convince us to vote for him. See, we've had this thing where we have politics backwards, where we think it's our job to support the candidate, and because of our support for the candidate does something in return. It doesn't go that way. It's never supposed to go that way, and it doesn't go that way for any other community. What's supposed to happen is that the candidate is supposed to be so strong, the candidate is supposed to convince people to vote for the candidate's policies, the candidate's reputation, the candidate's backing and their nomination. That's supposed to be what gets the voters to vote for them. It's not the voters' responsibility to get somebody in office. It's the candidate's responsibility to get themselves in office by trying to earn the vote. It's not our responsibility to just help you. You don't have any. Trump, damn sure, doesn't have any entitlement to the black community or our support at all. His whole last campaign, he damn near ignored the black community, with the exception to sitting up there taking pictures with Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. He ignored the black community his whole campaign. And he's sitting up there talking about there's good on both sides when he's referring to neo-Nazis. So no, we're not going to play that game. No. If he win, that's because he earns it. That's because he earns it in Kanye West, yeah. If he wins, that's because he earns it, and he better earn it. That's the only way. That we're different now. We're different now. We're different now. This generation is cut from a new cloth. We're very different now. You're not just going, we got to get you in. We don't got to do nothing. I don't got to do nothing. I don't have to do anything. Okay? Now, I understand. I do. I understand, and I'm not a Biden supporter at all. I'm not a Biden supporter, and I've said on the record, and I'll say it again, that Biden is worse. I've said that. I've said it. But just because one person might be worse than the other person does not mean I'm going to compromise on my principles. It does not mean I'm going to compromise on my agenda. It does not mean I'm going to compromise and vote for either person. It don't mean that. It don't mean that. It don't mean that, no. Yes, he wasn't talking about those. No, brother. There's been whole documentaries. He was talking about the Nazis, brother. He was talking about them. He was talking about he didn't say Nazis in general. He was talking about the side the Nazis was on. He was talking about the side the Nazis were on. Okay, come on now. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Now, also, got some good news. The For the Culture Part 2. Everybody's been wondering where it is, where it's coming from, when it's coming. Everybody's been asking about it. Everybody's been expecting it. Everybody's been anticipating it. Folks have been hitting me up asking what's going on. Afro, tell me, where's Part 2? I need it. People have been fiending for it ever since they knew he was in Atlanta filming Part 2. And y'all been waiting patiently, and I appreciate y'all for that. I appreciate y'all. I am here to announce to you guys that Part 2 is coming on the For the Culture channel. It's going to be on this own For the Culture channel. You're going to see Part 2. And if y'all liked Part 1, I'm telling you, we get in so deep in Part 2 because we covered so much in Part 1. That's the thing. We covered so many different subjects in Part 1 just so y'all can get like a good taste, a good feel of it, you know. But the thing is that part one, we covered so much. Part two, we kind of trimmed off a little of the fat. We trimmed a little of the fat off. So part two, we get straight to business. I'm talking about start to finish. It's just business. Us business is business is business. We standing on business is part two. It's coming on the For the Culture channel, which is going to be on its own channel. The link to that is in the description. It's already up. The link is already up. You guys can already share it. You guys can already like it. You guys already need to. We got to get them pre-likes up. We got to get them shares up. We got to get them comments up. We got to get all that stuff up. This stuff has to break records, y'all. Which it will. First one did. Which it will. It is coming. Let me tell y'all. It's coming this week, Wednesday night. I hope y'all don't have nothing planned Wednesday night. I really do. I really, really do. Hope y'all ain't got nothing planned Wednesday night because it's going down. It's going down, y'all. Wednesday. It's at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all get like 2 days. Y'all can go to the store tonight. Y'all can get y'all drinks. Y'all can get y'all popcorn. Y'all can get y'all pretzels. Y'all can get y'all candy. Y'all can get y'all pizza. Y'all can cook. Y'all can barbecue the day before. Y'all can barbecue earlier that day. I don't know what y'all want to do. If y'all want to have vegan options or whatever the case, y'all can have. It don't matter. Or if y'all just want to drink water, and that's fine too. Y'all got enough time to buy new furniture. This podcast is so good. Y'all might want to buy new furniture for the podcast. Because if y'all got a thing where y'all can't really recline the seat back and you can't kick your feet up, you know, the thing where you have the lever and you pull the lever back and you recline it back and kind of do like this. If y'all don't have that, y'all might want to get that. If y'all don't have it, you can't enjoy it that way. Y'all might want to do that. Y'all might want to do that. That has the automatic cup holder thing too, with the ring lights attached to it. I mean, just get fancy with it. Just get fancy with it. You might want to do that. Okay. The kids will be out of school. Well, the kids are already out of school. The kids will be out of school. You might want to have the kids come over. They can do homework afterwards. This can be their homework. This should be their homework, to be honest. This is required watching, required viewership for children. Okay. Y'all need to put y'all babies to sleep watching this. The babies need to see it. Y'all turn the little baby head so the baby can be drinking a bottle and watching the podcast. That's what y'all need to be doing on the couch, on your couch that you're going to be voting for. Okay. See, I already got it. See, I thought it was Tuesday. No, it's not Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday the 5th. It is Wednesday the 5th. Okay. Which is 10 days, brothers and sisters, before the rally for reparations. So when I tell you we got a very busy month, brothers and sisters, we have a very busy month, man. We got a very busy month. We got a very busy month, my brothers and sisters. But yes, For the Culture is coming. Are y'all excited? Because I know I am. I know I am. We put a lot, and y'all should have seen. There was a lot of work put behind part 2. It was a lot of work put behind part 1, to be very honest with you. And it was also a lot of work put behind part 2 as well. So y'all get ready for that. Y'all definitely get ready for that. But in summary, brothers and sisters, as far as the fate of Donald Trump, we don't know. He better get his act together. Same for Joe Biden. He better get his act together because it's not a guaranteed win for either one of them. Is not a guaranteed win. And the only people who are going to determine who wins is going to be the black vote. And right now, they're trying to play this game of ignoring the benign neglect. They're trying to ignore it. Okay. Y'all can do that if y'all want to. Y'all get somebody from the Green Party, a third party person in there. Y'all can play if y'all want to. Both y'all too old to run again. If Biden loses, that's it for him. If he loses, that's it for him. If Trump loses, that's it for him. Y'all need to be fighting for dear life, and y'all making very dangerous mistakes. But we'll see what happens. Y'all need to be following me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and Afro Elite on Twitter, and the link to that is in the description below, brothers and sisters. Also, if you guys would do me a solid and don't forget to leave that like, and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to do that. Don't do that. Don't forget that. Okay? Because that be messing with you. Don't. If you guys would do me the honors of doing that, I would greatly appreciate that. Sincerely, I would. We've been on here for a little bit. We've discussed what we needed to. Appreciate every single last one of y'all. And with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all. And of course, you all have a good one.